Hello, in this tutorial I want to show you an easy way of how to smoothen skin using frequency separation in less than 10 minutes. So you're going to be understanding everything about frequency separation and how to smoothen skin in just 10 minutes. So let's just get started with this tutorial. And if at all you find it really helpful and useful, don't forget to hit the like button on this video so that YouTube can recommend and push this video to so many people out there. So what we have to do, we're just going to come to the background and create two copies out of the background by hitting Ctrl Command J twice, or you can simply drag and drop here twice and create those two layers. And we're going to rename this to low frequency, and we're going to name this to high frequency. So after doing that, we only want to retain the colors in the low frequency layer and only the textures in the high frequency layer. And in order to do that, we're just going to turn off the high frequency layer and now come and activate the low frequency layer and select it. Then come right here to filter, blur, and we are going to come to Gaussian blur. So in this step, this is where you determine the amount of details that you want to remain with in your final image. So with the preview option checked right here, just look for the area that has prominent details within the image and take the radius all the way up to a point when this detail is just starting to completely disappear. So just stop at the point when the details are just getting to get lost from the image. So we're just going to take it up to that point when the details are just getting to get lost from the image. So at around 9 is good because we only want to lose out on the details, but we can still notice the facial structures of the model's face right here. So I'm just going to come and click OK. Then come to the high frequency layer, and like I said, in the high frequency layer we only want to retain the details or the textures of the image. So just come and select it and now activate it. Then come to image and come down to apply image, and when you come to apply image, make sure the source is the name of the image, and now the layer from which we are extracting the textures is going to be the low frequency layer. So just come and select it, and the channel has to be RGB. And now the blend mode, if at all you have an 8-bit image right here, just come and change the blend mode to subtract, and make sure the opacity is 100%. Preserve transparency and mask are not checked. The scale has to be 2 and offset 128. Make sure invert is not checked right here. And you can see the textures are going to be on this gray kind of layer. But if at all you have a 16-bit image like I have right here, come and change it to add. And now the opacity has to be 100. Preserve transparency and mask are not checked. The scale has to be 2, offset at 0. So scale is 2, offset 0. And make sure you turn on the invert option and you have the textures on this gray kind of layer. Just come and click OK. Then come to the blend mode and change it from normal and change it down to linear light, and you get back the image right here. So just want to group these two layers. So when you select Ctrl Command and click on both layers, you select both layers and simply drag and drop them to this group, and you can double click, rename that to frequency separation. So just want to start smoothing the skin of this image. So just come, open up the frequency separation group, and you select the low frequency layer. Remember, we just want to smoothen the colors in the image and later on remove the textures or the blemishes from the model's skin. So just come and select the low frequency layer and simply come under the brushes, right click and get your mixer brush tool. And in order to set it well, make sure the hardness is at 0%. It is a clean brush, and make sure you select the second option, which is clean the brush after each and every stroke. Then the weight has to be 9, load 75, mix at 90, and the flow at 100%. Make sure sample all layers is not checked, because when you check this option and you paint, it's also going to be copying and pasting textures in the low frequency layer, which we don't want. We only want the layer to only contain the colors or skin tones in this image. So just come and deactivate the high frequency layer and hide it. And right now you can see the inconsistencies within the skin tone variations in this image. So just going to be painting to smoothen out the skin color of the model. And if at all your mixer brush tool is showing this cross icon, make sure you turn off the caps lock key and you have the mixer brush tool. So as using the mixer brush tool, rather, always make sure that you don't over zoom in look at the image from a distance and work on it that way. And in order to increase or decrease on the size of the mixer brush tool, you can use the open and close brackets on the keyboard. And how to use it, simply left click and hold down and simply drag and move the mixer brush tool to even out the skin color or skin tone. And in this process, you can see that the skin is turning out to look smooth, but at the end of it all, we are going to still be retaining the original natural skin details of the model's skin. So you're just going to paint using a mixer brush tool just like that, and you can see you're trying to paint colors that are looking similar in the model's skin. So just come and paint those colors and even them out even more and reduce on the size, and you work on a smaller area. But the trick right here is because we turned off the high frequency, and when you turn it back on, you can see the textures are still back and they are still intact. So the more plastic it gets, the better your image is going to look after using a mixer brush tool. So let's just come and paint through right here, and you're just trying to harmonize the skin color of this model. So let's just come and paint through just like that, and we're trying to paint colors that are looking alike and trying to harmonize them in this specific image. Reduce on the size and come and paint in these colors and harmonize them. And like I said, the more plastic it looks, the better the retouched image is going to be at the end of this very process. So just come and paint on the nose area just like that, and you can as well paint on this nice and beautiful highlight on to the nose area. So after doing this, I'm going to share with you another tool that we can use to fine-tune the areas we may have accidentally not painted in using the mixer brush tool. So stay tuned and don't turn off this very tutorial. I'm talking to you. So just come to the neck area and also work on it using the mixer brush tool, and this is going to smoothen out just like that and blend the colors. So you can see we're just trying to eliminate or merge and mix the colors within the chest area using our mixer brush tool. So let's just paint in through, and we are almost done with this very step. So we're just going to come and activate the texture layer, and you can see this is the before and after so far for using the mixer brush tool, and the results are really nice and amazing. So the next thing we're going to do, we're just going to come and we use the lasso tool technique to fine tune or refine this image. So just come to the lasso tool and make sure the feather is around 22 pixels, because I'm just going to undo this. So make sure the feathering is 22 pixels. So I'm just going to come to the feather. I'm going to leave it at around 22 pixels because so at around 22 pixels, that is fine. So after setting that, make sure anti-alias is selected and new selection mode has been activated. So this option right here, and now you're just going to come and with the low frequency layer selected, you're just going to come and make a selection onto a skin area. And as you're doing this, make sure you keep away from the hair, the eyebrows, and the edges of your image, and only select those areas. Come to filter, blur, and come to Gaussian blur, and simply move the radius slider. So just move the radius slider up to a point when you feel like you're having a nice skin texture for your image. So at around 23, that looks great. I'm just going to hit OK, and I'm going to come to this area and apply that effect. Right click and come to Gaussian blur, and when you feel like the effect is a little bit intense or too much, you can simply apply your Gaussian blur and simply right click on the selection and you come to fade Gaussian blur, and you can reduce on the Gaussian blur effect from that area. So I'm just going to be applying this onto various areas of this very image. So I'm just going to right click and come to Gaussian blur and come to the chin area and also apply the Gaussian blur effect just like that. Come to the nose area, and when it comes to the nose area, only apply it onto the edges of the nose separately, and don't apply it on the highlight because that is going to make the nose a little bit flat, which we don't want. So let's just apply it onto these areas, and you can see the image is now looking very nice and smooth and very natural. Just look at it before and after, before, after. So after retouching the image, the next thing is going to be cleaning up or removing the blemishes from the image. And in order to do that, just come to a layer that is containing the blemishes in this image and come and select the clone stamp tool. And for the settings, I prefer to use a hardness of around 39 or 40. Make sure the mode is normal, opacity and the flat 100%. Make sure the sample is on the current layer because we only want to work on the current layer that contains the details. And how to use the clone stamp tool, you're going to come and simply start holding down the alternate key on the keyboard. And when you hold down alternate on the keyboard and left click, close the blemish, you sample a clean area, close the blemish and simply left click over the blemish to get rid of it. And you can see it really does a pretty nice job, and this is what I'm going to be doing. So what I'm doing, I'm holding down alternate and I'm left clicking over the blemish, alternate, left clicking close the blemish and simply left clicking on the blemish to eliminate it. So I'm just going to forward this so that you don't take a long time right here. So let me forward this and I'm going to be back shortly. Hello, welcome back, and we are done removing the blemishes from this image. So after removing all this and cleaning up your image, you can simply do a little bit of eye whitening. So just come right here to the hue and saturation layer and come to the master and simply desaturate the image after running negative 97. And make sure your white mask is selected. Hit Control Command I on the keyboard. Make sure you have black and white right here. In order to reset, just click on these two small boxes, and you can switch between black and white by using X on the keyboard. And come and select your brush tool and make sure it is a soft round brush tool. So make sure the hardness is at 0%, and now you can zoom into the eyes and simply paint using a white brush to whiten the eyes of our model right here. Just do that and you can see it is very nice and a short effective way to whiten eyes within Photoshop. And after retouching, we just want to export a very sharp image after we have been able to edit it. So we're done doing the eye whitening. So in order to export a sharp image, simply come to File, Export, and come down to Export As. So when you come to Export As, you can come and simply come to this window. Make sure you select the format as JPEG, quality at 100%. Resample, change it to bicubic sharper because we want a sharper image. Make sure you select Convert sRGB and also embed color profile and simply hit Export, and you are going to be able to save your image as a sharp image. So if at all you have found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to like this video and don't forget to subscribe this channel if at all you have been watching and you want to subscribe this channel. Ronnix from ronnixphotography. Thank you for watching and see you in yet more amazing tutorials, and don't forget to keep practicing and also keep creating.